Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
Grief has a strange way of making people uncomfortable. I could feel it tonight, the unspoken awkwardness clinging to my skin like static. The Briar's dining room had always been ostentatious, but never had it felt more cold than it did tonight. The absence of my husband Martin sat heavier than the roasted lamb on the table. 8 months, 8 hollow, clawing months since the accident, since his death. And this was the first time his family had invited me and Larry to a proper dinner. Rebecca, his sister, wore burgundy velvet like it was a crown. "We're just so glad you could make it, Evelyn," she said with that high-polished voice of hers. "Larry's grown, hasn't he?" I forced a smile, gently smoothing Larry's cowlick. "He's 8 now." "We know," she chirped. "Anyway, let's begin." Dinner was roasted potatoes, honeyed carrots, and a silence that pinched my spine. No one asked how I was managing. No one mentioned Martin. Not even a toast. Halfway through the meal, as Larry quietly played with his peas, Rebecca rose with her wine glass raised, not to remember her brother, but to introduce something. "So," she said brightly, "we thought it might be best to keep things organized moving forward." Her husband, Greg, cleared his throat. Rebecca continued, "It's been a difficult year for all of us. And with the holidays approaching, we thought a little system would help us manage future gatherings." "System?" I asked, setting down my fork. "A vote," she said. "Just a yes or no on your and your son continued inclusion participation in family activities. Don't take it personally, it's about emotional health." I blinked. "You're voting me out of the family?" Greg glanced up from his phone. "We're just trying to avoid awkwardness." Larry tugged on my sleeve, his voice a whisper. "Are we in trouble?" Rebecca gave a sheepish smile and held up her phone. "Shall we?" Thumbs moved. Screens glowed. The room buzzed with low murmurs. I stared at them, these people who had cried with me at Martin's funeral. People who had promised we'd always be family. Rebecca looked at her screen. "Results are in. 7 against, 2 abstained." She paused, looking right at me. 1 in favor. Larry raised his hand. That was me. Silence stretched. My heart thudded like a war drum. "Come on, Larry," I said, gathering our things. "But Mom, why?" "Later," I whispered. My voice did not shake. I took my son's hand and we walked out. No one stopped us. No one said goodbye. Only the sound of the empty chair scraping behind us. The night air slapped us in the face as the mansion doors clicked shut behind us. I held Larry's hand tighter than I meant to, and he didn't protest. His tiny legs hurried to keep up, the sound of our steps echoing on Rebecca's polished driveway. We reached the car, and I fumbled with the keys. My hands trembled. Rage, shame, something nameless. Larry climbed into the back seat, too quiet. Halfway down Elmhurst Lane, his voice cut through the silence. "Mom," his tone was careful, like he knew the question might hurt me. "Why don't they like us?" I kept my eyes on the road, swallowing the lump rising in my throat. "They love Daddy," he said, "but now they look at you like you broke something." I pulled over. The car engine hummed like a reminder of the silence between us. I turned in my seat to face him. "They're confused, sweetheart, and sometimes people are cruel when they're hurting. But we didn't do anything wrong." His lip quivered. I said yes in the vote. I reached for his hand. "I know you did, baby. I saw. That meant everything." He sniffled and looked down. "I just wanted to go to Christmas again. With Uncle David's funny hat and the tree that smells like cookies." I felt the tears pressing hard, but I wouldn't let them fall. Not in front of him. "We'll make our own Christmas this year," I said. "A new one. One that's just ours." He looked up at me, brows pulled together. "Can we have 2 trees?" I managed a smile. "We can have 10 if we want." He chuckled softly, and for a brief second, that sound stitched something broken inside me. As I drove us home, I stared at the shadows along the street and thought of Martin. How he would have thrown that phone from Rebecca's hand. How he would have picked up Larry and stormed out first. But he wasn't here anymore. And they had made it painfully clear. His memory was not enough reason for us to stay. But if they thought I'd go quietly, they were wrong. The envelope trembled in my hands as I slid it into the last mailbox, Rebecca's. A neat white rectangle, yet inside it carried the weight of years of humiliation wrapped in legal steel. "Attorney Sheila Connor said they'll feel this," I murmured, glancing at Larry seated in the car, drawing a crooked snowman on the fogged window. I closed the mailbox lid with finality. It had taken me 3 sleepless nights and 1 iron-willed visit to Attorney Sheila Connor's office. Her eyes, sharp behind thin spectacles, didn't soften when I played the voice memos. "She's just a widow now. What's she even coming for?" Sheila quoted coldly. "This is defamation paired with deliberate emotional harm. And using that boy in their reindeer games? Unforgivable." "I don't want money," I'd said. "I want silence. Legal silence." She nodded. "They'll receive cease and desist letters. Bulletproofed in law. If they try anything again, we file." 3 days later, silence arrived like a heavy snowfall. Not a call. Not a text. Not even a scene on the group chat that used to buzz like a hive. The same relatives who had voted us out with cheerful emojis now froze behind unread messages. One afternoon, Aunt Meredith stood outside our building, clutching a pie. I didn't open the door. Larry peeked from the window. "Is she bringing peace or poison?" I almost laughed. "Both," I said. "But we're not hungry." And just like that, the doors that had slammed on us now couldn't open fast enough. But this time, I held the key. And I wasn't handing it back. The post went live at 6:42 a.m., just before sunrise. This is for every widow shoved to the sidelines. For every child made to feel like an outsider. This is our story. We were voted out of our own family with emojis. Attached were screenshots, the group chat poll, Rebecca's smug messages, and even Larry's tear-stained drawing. A stick figure of us standing alone beneath a thundercloud. By noon, it had been shared over 9,000 times. At 1:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. Call from Rebecca. I didn't answer. Later, Sheila forwarded me a furious email from one of the cousins, claiming I'd ruined their reputations. "She's panicking," Sheila wrote beneath it. "Which means we're winning." Comments flooded in. "Monsters. Protect that little boy. She's brave." Even local parenting groups picked it up. One woman messaged, "I left my toxic in-laws because of your post. Thank you for speaking out." That night, Larry and I made spaghetti and danced barefoot in the kitchen. "They're scared of you now," he said, slurping noodles. "No," I replied, brushing hair from his forehead. "They're scared of truth." And truth didn't need their permission to speak. 2 months later, silence had become a blessing. No more group chat pings. No more glares masked as smiles. Just quiet mornings with cinnamon toast and Larry's soft humming as he built Lego castles in the sunlit corner of our new apartment. I had started therapy with a woman named Mira. She didn't flinch when I spoke about being voted out of a family like a bad party guest. "Some families break you just by pretending you don't exist," she said once, scribbling in her notebook. One evening, Larry sat beside me on the balcony, our fingers sticky from orange popsicles. "Are we better now?" he asked, eyes blinking up at the stars. I smiled. "We're healing, sweetheart, and healing is a kind of superpower." He thought about it, then nodded solemnly. "Then you must be the strongest person in the world." That night, I posted one last thing. We didn't break. We bloomed. Then I logged off for good. Because peace wasn't found in vengeance or going viral. It was in Larry's laughter echoing through clean walls, in a fridge filled with food we loved, and in the growing silence that, for once, didn't hurt. It healed. A pale envelope slipped behind a drawer resurfaced one rainy Saturday, months after I stopped expecting closure. I almost tossed it until I recognized the handwriting. Rebecca. Inside, her words spilled out crook and cautious. "I was cruel. Not because I hated you, but because you reminded me of everything I never had. The love he gave you. The son you still have. I don't ask for forgiveness, Evelyn. Just understanding." She had enclosed a photo of Daniel, my late husband, laughing, arm wrapped around Larry at a picnic we had long forgotten. My hands trembled. I didn't reply, but I kept the photo. Because healing didn't mean forgetting what they did. It meant remembering who we were before they tried to rewrite our worth. And as Larry's footsteps came thudding down the hall, I tucked the photo into a new drawer, this one filled with passports, spare keys, and plans for a quiet trip to the coast. We weren't just surviving anymore. We were living.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.